Well, good afternoon here on the East Coast, and good morning on the West Coast. And if you're in Europe, I can ask Alexa, hey, Alexa, what's the time in London? Alexa, what's the time in London?
In London, it's 5:59 p.m.
Okay, it's evening time in London, 5:59 p.m. And if we're, let's say, in Jakarta, Indonesia, Alexa, what time is it in Jakarta?
In Jakarta, it's 12:59 a.m.
Oh boy, waking up in Jakarta. Okay. Well, anyway, we got a great show for you, and as you can see, I'm wearing my Raider jersey. Got if you look in the back here, I don't know if the name comes up, but I'm excited because it's NFC AFC Championship Sunday, and we've got a special guest on, someone that I had the pleasure of meeting. Gosh, it seems like yesterday, but it was a number of years ago. A good friend of ours, Val Vaden. He's a fraternity brother. He helped start a company called Benchmark Capital, and he I called Val because I was moving back to the San Francisco Bay Area, and I said, Val, I need a place. Could you, do you know anybody that knows real estate? And Val said, Mike, there's only one guy. And I said, who's that? Pierre Buljan. And thanks to Val Vaden, who's in Hawaii. I don't know what time it is in Hawaii right now, but thank you, Val, because Pierre is truly an amazing person. And I'm going to bring him on in a few minutes. I just want to give a couple happy birthday shout outs to some of my good friends. It's their birthdays today, and I will give you their birthday. I want to wish Charlotte Hunt happy birthday. Happy birthday, Charlotte. I've invited her to come on the dot. She's an amazing woman, inspirational speaker, Charlotte D. Hunt, who graduated from the University of Akron and is just an amazing woman. Has done a lot of things, modeling, real estate. She was a professor of music at Oberlin College. So happy birthday, Charlotte. Want to wish happy birthday to my friend Monique Jenkins, who's out in Oakland. Happy birthday, Monique. Happy birthday to, I believe he went to Harvard University, Paul Schlesinger. Happy birthday, Paul. Happy birthday to Nicole Marino, who used to work on my teeth. She was an amazing dental assistant down in Southern California. Happy birthday to Mark Mumford, who played football at Sacramento State. He was a Hornet, and we worked together many years ago. Happy birthday to John Nash, who I worked together at Your Sports. Happy birthday, John. Happy birthday, Frank Garcia, who owns Taco Loco. And I know, Pierre, you've been to Taco Loco. It's Frank Garcia's birthday today. Happy birthday, Frank. And happy birthday to Andre Nicasso. Andre gave me my first job at a company called Nextel, and I've been friends with Andre ever since. He has a company by the name of Agent 007 and a brand called Akamina, and he's got a great golf tournament that he raises money for charity for street kids, homeless children in Las Vegas, and he does that every year. Happy birthday, Big A, Andre Nicasso. And couple famous people's birthday. Phil Collins, the great drummer singer, it's his birthday today, and it's Christian Bale's birthday today, the great actor. And final thing, today in history, the Beatles performed their last live performance on this day. It was a 42-minute concert on the roof of the Apple Corps headquarters in London, England. You could probably look at it's a great gig. They're playing for the last time, and it happened today on January 30th. So with that, let's bring on the man of the hour, Pierre Buljan. Pierre, welcome on the dot.
Hi, Mike.
How are you,
It's great.
brother?
It's great to see you, and nice background. Thank you for the background.
Well,
In honor of your alma mater, in honor of your school, and in honor of Bill Walsh, I'm wearing your Stanford shirt today. Bill Walsh would definitely be delighted to see his 49ers back in action, back in the playoffs right here. It would be amazing. he would. This hasn't happened probably in 30 years.
Yeah, well,
One away from the one game away from the big game.
yeah.
Hopefully, I'll see you down there if they come at
Yeah,
SoFi
well, you
Stadium.
know what, Pierre? It's exciting. It's NFC AFC Championship Sunday, and before we get into your predictions, and because you know a lot about football, but I would like to share it with people. People want to know who is Pierre Buljan, and I want to let them know. We'll start off with if you could just talk about you grew up in Croatia, and
No, no,
and tell us how you got from
no.
Croatia.
My parents escaped from Yugoslavia to move to France in the late 50s, and I was a couple years old. My sister was 4 or 5 years old, and I was raised in France. My other siblings were all born in France, so call it first generation French, fully Croatian by blood from both parents, and came here as a result of my uncle being here already in the United States in the mid 70s, 73, early 70s, and came here, went to Burlingame High School, graduated here, been on the peninsula ever since. Got involved into real estate in the late 70s, of just a few years after high school. It's about 19 years old, and been in ever since. And so it's going over 40 years now. And as a result, my older son, I never thought Alex would be involved in it, but God bless him, he jumped in a few years ago. His background is finance, business, and engineering, computer science, and stuff. So he got involved with me, and which is a wonderful thing because it gave me my second wind or second life in real estate. Because after all these years, I was getting a little burned out. But now with him on board, I'm enjoying it as much as the first day when I started when I was 19. And I've had the pleasure of working basically on the peninsula here ever since then. And I've had the great honor and pleasure to work with many great athletes over the years, from the 49ers, guys that went to Stanford, went to local schools, the Joe Montanas, the Jerry Rice, of course, back in the early days. Got to know the former owner of the 49ers, which I love dearly, Mr. Eddie DiBartolo, who is very well respected by everyone and his players. Got to know Dwight Clark, was involved in a couple of startups with us. Started Joe Montana's father in real estate when he came from back in the days from Pennsylvania. We're talking about 4 years ago, and worked with me for a while, and got to know his whole family, nice people. And then over the years, back in the days when Tommy Brady started here, he was born, believe it or not, in San Mateo, where I first moved to when I came here from France, from Paris, France, with my parents. So I got to know Tommy some, 25, 30 years ago. He used to come down and play basketball with us at the local Pac Club, which is now the Bay Club, and got to know the family, and it's a wonderful family as well. So we're so blessed to have so many great people here in the area. Touchdown Tommy, worked with them, Baba Paris, of course, some baseball players like Clark, many local people. Got to know John Elway, got to know Michael Jordan, Charles Barkley, because of Jerry Rice. So very fortunate to have been in this area, and just as a result, just got to know some wonderful people. Many of them became clients, venture capital. You mentioned Val Vaden, close friend. Got to know him some 30 years ago, whenever it was. I can't even remember. 25 years ago when he first moved from Santa Clara, since he went to Stanford. He lived down for a while. Got to meet him here and his family in Hillsborough, and so on and so forth. So basically, I can go on and on and on. And I've been very, very fortunate to be in real estate in one of the best areas in the world, San Mateo County here, basically.
Well, Pierre, when I was writing up your description to announce that we're going to have you on the dot today, I was either going to use the word icon or legend. And I picked legend, but you are certainly an icon because those, I mean, the people that you've met and you've seen the Silicon Valley grow right
Yeah,
before your life.
yeah,
Yeah. Talk about that.
yeah. I even got to know John Arriaga, who was Mr. Silicon Valley himself, who just happened, to pass away, unfortunately, a few days ago, and got to know him by going to all the football games and all the events with Val Vaden down at Stanford for years. And like I said, very, very fortunate to have met all these people that are just basically icons. No, I'm just a humble servant. I got lucky to be in the right place at the right time, but
You're too
I
humble.
love
You're too
people, and I
humble.
developed quite a Rolodex. I mean, I can literally. I'm very fortunate. My son always jokes. He says, "With my dad, it's not who he knows; it's who he doesn't know," because I love to put people together, and I've been very blessed and fortunate to establish some amazing relationships with some of the most amazing people, not just from Silicon Valley, but around the globe, around the world, and I cherish that. And one of the thing that warms my heart every time is because I've been around great people, and I've always respected them, and I've always been around people that respect me, and that would just about do anything for me anywhere I call. I mean, I could travel the world right now and never have to pay for a hotel room. That's how many people I know. Literally 5,000 people on my phone right here. So I don't want to lose my phone, that's for sure. But my son always jokes about the fact, Alex, it's not who my dad knows, it's who he doesn't know. So,
Well, this is interesting, Pierre, to let everyone know. As you know, Pierre, I've was taught about 7 years ago by a friend named Alex von Allman. He taught me about personality and psychology, and this Myers Briggs, which he turned into what we call Zodian.
yeah.
And to let everyone out there who's listening right now, or who listens to the recording, Pierre and I have the same personality, don't we, Pierre?
Yes, sir.
Pegasus.
We're both Pegasus.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and we both, meet people very easily, and almost, get establish instant rapport with people. And I love the fact when my kids go walk down Burlingame Avenue, anywhere in San Mateo County, and say, "Oh, you're oh my God, you're Pierre's son. Oh, I want I love your father. I want to get together. Tell him we need to meet right away and stuff." And that warms my heart more than anything that I've done in business. It's just the fact that I just love the rapport with people.
Well, you
I've
love
given up on
people.
many occasions great business opportunities just to keep the relation.
Yeah.
More importantly to me. So
Well, one of the famous Pegasuses was Will Rogers, who said a famous quotation from Will Rogers: "I never met a person I didn't like."
yeah,
Pierre, and he
yeah,
was a Pegasus like us. So that's a person.
yeah. No, I
Yeah.
mean the fact is that I love people, especially good people. My wife Liz, as you know very well, she's the happiest person on earth, and she's always great. Gives me great advice, and sometimes I'll always be forgiving once or twice, but she likes good energy, and she likes people with good energy, and she always warns me, even though sometimes I say, "Oh, they're having a tough time, they're going through a divorce, whatever. Give them a chance." When she tells me something, I've never come to regret when she told me, "No, that person is not good for you," or whatever. Which opens up, happens when you know so many people and you work with so many people. She'll tell me when somebody is not worth keeping around because their bad energy sometimes will affect other people.
Well, I think what's interesting is you do. Everyone has a vibration. We have our bodies
Yeah,
are full of energy, and for whatever reason, sometimes the vibration isn't as a good a vibration, and it doesn't mean you don't care about the person. It's just you probably need to go the other direction because that vibration they're not
well,
vibrating with you. But you're a loving person, Pierre. I've been out to so many events with you. And speaking of events, you were at an event about 2.5 years ago up in Lake Tahoe with all of all of the celebrities, the famous golf tournament up in Lake Tahoe.
Yeah,
I'll
yeah,
never
it's the American Century, and I've been fortunate. I've been going up there literally for over 30 years with Jerry Rice. Many times I meet him up there and his family. So through him, I was able to meet a lot of these great athletes and great people. Like I said, through him, I met Barclay, which I've developed a great relationship. Jordan, she used to smoke cigars. He'd call me cigar man. I'd always bring good Cuban cigars, and that's one way to get in the door with these guys.
Hey,
So,
but how about the other Chicago Bulls, Dennis
oh,
Rodman?
Rodman, yeah, I was with him. He's a crazy man, but
You got any
you know
good
what?
Dennis
He's
Rodman
very
stories?
emotional, and if you get to know him, he's actually a nice person. He's a little bit, as they say, a little bit out there, but he's just a good guy. And I got to know him last year. Literally, we sat there having breakfast for 2 hours. Him, his daughter, which she had lost contact. She lives in the Greater Bay Area, believe it or not, and her husband, and they had a child, and there was about eight of us with one of his best friends from LA, and we sat right in front of the restaurant, right in front of the Hard Rock Cafe in Tahoe, and literally I got to know the whole family, and a lot of emotions involved. So Rodman is quite a character. He did a little speech with some kind of appearance over there with Jerry, which was kind of interesting. The two of them spoke at one of the events there at the Horizon, which is now the Hard Rock Cafe. So I got to know him pretty well, and God, I've met so many characters up there. Got to know De La Hoya quite well, very nice guy. Um, your old roommate John Elway, real nice guy.
Yeah.
Got to know him, hanged out with him a lot up there. Even last couple of years met Mahomes, which is
Patrick
talk about
Mahomes.
football.
Yes.
One of the great
That-
quarterbacks now, and he's going to be starting here pretty shortly. I'm
yeah.
looking
That's
to
a
my
good
right at the TV.
That's a good segue. What are your thoughts about today's game, Pierre? What are your thoughts?
We're of course talking about the Niners, right?
Yes.
So to be honest, being the Joe Montana era, and having watched Steve Young and having watched all that, I don't have that much confidence in Jimmy G. Unfortunately, whatever, to each his own. I just don't always seen him hurt and always see him fall apart. But like every team gets in a stride during this time of the year, and it seems like it's the 49ers' turn. So I want to be a believer. I think that other kid that's coming up behind Jimmy G, Trey Lance, has got more mobility, and he's more of a Steve Young type, running all over the place. And if he gets good protection, he can make quick moves. I got more confidence in him. But you know what? I'm not going to take anything away from Jimmy G, because he's had some great last minute throws here to put them where they are right now. But also, don't anybody forget that the defense last two games won the game. So the defense is like the old saying, right? Michael, you know it well. It's offense sell tickets and defense wins games. I lost you right there.
Defense wins championships.
Yes, yes. So you know that very well. But I'm not gonna look. I have faith that he could pull this off. He's got some pretty good guys. Looks like most guys are playing. Most of his main guys are playing today. So this could be quite a showdown.
Yeah, it
They
should be
need
a
to
good
get
game.
an early lead.
It
They
should
need
be
to
a
get
good
an
game.
early lead. They need to score first, in my opinion,
Yeah.
because that way that first score is going to give them, whichever team scores first, it's going to give them a lot of advantage, a lot of confidence going forward. You don't want to come from back and try to catch up. It's going to be a tough game.
Well, speaking of scoring first, you haven't talked about you were quite a heck of a football player, but we're talking soccer. You played
Yeah.
the world's greatest sport. What? Tell us about your
No,
soccer
I
exploit.
played a little bit of soccer back in the days at Burlingame High School. And sorry, waving at Liz. She's on her way out. Later, Liz.
Bye,
so,
Liz.
yes, I just said that. So no, I played a little bit. I was fortunate enough to play some decent soccer at Burlingame. Then I went off to play for a couple different teams. Back in the days, I played for a team named Zagreb. They were almost like a first division team in San Jose that some of the guys ended up playing for the Earthquakes back in the days when it was first started. The owner of the Earthquakes, Milan Mandaric, was a good friend. Even though he was Serbian, we forgive him for that. so I got to know him very well, and his daughter actually lives in town here in Burlingame. He lives in London and owns a couple of teams. But back in the days, a couple of my friends from high school, Derek Evans, went to Skyline, and then he played for the Earthquakes. And then also when they were getting the sport promoted in America, if you remember Beckenbauer, the great players, we had Pele, of course, come in and play for Cosmos, New York Cosmos for a while. And those were the early days in the late 70s when soccer was really being established right here. One of our cousins, Ivan Buljan, who played for Germany for one of the big teams in Germany and played in 2 or 3 World Cups, came in. Of course, it was mainly at the end of his career. He got just like Pelé and these guys like Beckenbauer and George Best and all these guys that came in to play from Europe. He pretty much sat on the bench, warmed the bench. But it was nice to see him come out here and promote the sport. So yeah, soccer was definitely the love of my life. I rather play than watch it, so I don't watch enough. But definitely, when the World Cup happens and the run that Croatia had this last year was amazing. Just on pure adrenaline, just they were out there, playing against some of the best in the world, and made it all the way almost to the top. They got beat by France, which a lot of my French friends enjoyed, but I was hoping that they would give France a run for their money because France has been there before, and Croatia would have been nice, even though they came in. They came in third place about 20 years ago. I remember the days when Stanford was hosting a lot of the World Cup. We used to go down there with my Brazilian friends, and we'd stand under the Brazilian flag at the old Stanford Stadium because one of our friends was dating a Brazilian girl. So we would they wanted as many people as they could, Michael, to jump up and down for Brazil. And I used to like a lot of the players from Brazil, so we had no problem. We joined the team.
Hey, if you go to another Brazilian game, let me go. I'd like to.
I'll take you to
I'd
Brazil
like to
with
hang
me.
out with some of the Brazilian ladies.
I got friends in Brazil. I'll take you to Brazil with me. I got a lot of friends in different places in South America. So what do you call it? Argentina, Brazil, and several other places. So I've been invited.
Well, Pierre, so amazing, your background. I mean, to go, born in Croatia, grew up in France, and then moved, and finished your high school and in Burlingame, which is, for anybody out there that doesn't know where Burlingame is, it's called the Peninsula, which is just south of San Francisco. And this is actually a picture when you go to Pierre's website. And Pierre, you know what I love to do here? I am going to click here. I'm going to create a banner. I'm going to say, for more information, go to, and what is your website, Pierre?
BuljanGroup.com.
BuljanGroup.com. And is it HTTP? You don't have to do the www, do you?
No. I think I think I've been around for so long. I'm an old man on the peninsula that if you just type in Pierre and real estate into Google, it should light up pretty good.
Well, how about that? Look at that. You see that little ticker tape?
Yeah,
So go to buljangroup.com.
yes.
See, Pierre, I don't need to go work for NBC or CBS or ABC or ESPN. We got it right here on the dot, baby. And we
I
don't,
love it. I
Pierre, we
think
don't
it's
even have to break
fabulous.
for we don't even have to break for commercials. But you know what? We're gonna break for one commercial because we're gonna go back to about 5 minutes ago. I said you were at this golf tournament about 2.5 years ago, and you met a guy named your friend Davy Dave.
Yeah.
Davy Dave. And why don't you share the story? Because Davy Dave's probably out there, and some other people like Tom and Virginia. Why don't you share the story about the call you made to me?
So this was completely serendipity, basically. Was not looking for anything, but because of my good friend back from the 70s that back in my high school days, it was a chef at the French restaurant, which at the time was probably the best in the Bay Area. He was a young chef. When I was in high school, we got very close. We came from France about the same time in 73. And he was a chef at 19 learned at Maxime's, a chef at Le Bistrot Rouge, which is here on 25th Avenue, which is not too far from where Tom Brady grew up, actually, in San Mateo by Hillsdale. And because of that, he moved around a little bit and then opened a restaurant for years up in El Dorado Hills. And through Yvonne, I met Davy Dave, a good friend, which was many years in the police force. Through Davy Dave, I met Tom and his lovely wife, Virginia, and they kind of were starting something in the cannabis space, which I really didn't know much about. I've really I played sports. There we go, Club Nirvana. And Davy Dave called me and says, hey, listen, there's an opportunity right here. We'd love to have you on board, and we'd love to meet some athletes and introduce them to Jerry Rice. At the time, Jerry Rice could not get involved because of, I guess it's got THC in the products. And since it's not, all over, it's legal in California, of course, and we're only using it as creams and sleeping tablets and stuff. I can't hear you.
It's legal now in New York also.
Yes. So yeah, I lost you for a second there. However, so Jerry couldn't get involved in it. However, he he was very interested, but he had his own thing going on with his drink called Goat Fuel, and he's doing very well with that. His daughter again has been running it with his son-in-law out of Los Angeles and now out of Texas, and they seem to be getting great stride in that business. So we got to be kind of introduced to it at the beginning, since Jerry and his family have been very, very close friends for many years. They're like family to us, of course. And
aren't you Jerry's son's godfather?
yeah, both of the younger kids, my wife and I, we've fortunate enough to have met Jerry when he first joined with the team. I already had met Montana and many of the Dwight, and like I said, Baba Paris, Keena Turner, Craig, a lot of Roger Craig. And then Jerry came in, and the luck of the draw. When we first lived in Redwood Shores some 35 years ago, we had the great pleasure of having Jerry Rice be our neighbor, and then we became very close friends with the family. Went to his wedding. Our kids have been friends since they were born, and the kids had a lot of choices when they were getting baptized and when they were getting their first communion and everything. And they were asked who they want for godparents, and they chose. Fortunately, Liz and I am very proud of his children. Very well raised, beautiful children. His son now is in real estate as well, He followed in his godfather's footsteps, and he's doing very well right here in Menlo Park. They grew up in Menlo Park and stuff. So yeah, a lot of history here. And again, with Davy Dave and Tom, they started this. Seems to be so far. I mean, we started a tough time during the worst of the epidemic. Club Nirvana started a couple years ago. I, of course, right away because of the health benefits of marijuana, the way they're making creams and sleeping tablets and all kinds of great products with the plant. I thought of Michael. I got called Michael was probably my second phone call or my first phone call, along with Rich and Susanna and several other people that I thought would be.
And Mike Ping.
Mike Ping, of course, was a longtime friend. Went to Burlingame High School, was a couple years behind me. That developed a great friendship with. And Mike now is involved, of course, with the company. So as a result of all those connections, I got involved, and hopefully we'll see some great results.
Well, Pierre, I want to say how grateful I am, because if you hadn't made that call to me and I was here in New York and it was 2.5 years ago and you said, Mike, you got to cut it's this TCP DBD. And we didn't even know, if you had mentioned the word indica or sativa or Schedule 1, I'd say, is that part of a football game? Is it scheduled?
Yeah.
I didn't know anything, but thanks to you and to Davy Dave and to Tom in Virginia and the entire Club Nirvana team, I've gone from virtually zero knowledge in cannabis to I am now a cannabis Club Nirvana evangelist. Thanks to you.
Yes, I noticed, and and you're awesome because you see what the results are for the products. I mean, I've had very few hills that I need, but I've put some of that cream and some of the there's a icy and hot kind of a product. What do they call it? Tell me again. The little tube of that if you get like a sore muscle or something. I just blanked out on the name, but if you just roll it on, it's like a roll-on. It's a roll-on, and it's got both CBD and THC and all that stuff. And then it's got the candies, the bonbons right there. That cream is amazing. I use it all the time. Anything, soreness, muscle ache. There we go. Yeah. Which one is that? Yeah, I see that. I have that, of course. And as a result of these great products, I got, like I said, I'm a big fan. And at the beginning when I called you, that's right. I didn't know. All I knew about marijuana is the kids smoke it and all this stuff. I've never been into it because I've never smoked anything except the occasional cigar. And honestly, some people claim that it's helping him with a lot of different headaches and a lot of different depression and everything else, which God bless him. However, I've never had an interest. So when I called you, I said, there's this new product, CBD, the ABC, whatever the hell. And I know Rich was laughing his head off. He said, what the hell are you talking about? I said, what they're making out of this plants, this marijuana plants, they're making all this health products. And I've tried some, and I mean, I've talked to people. It's helping older people with arthritis and all kinds of things, and they're making claims. So my friends, and on top of that, one of my friends he was arresting people back in the days for marijuana usage, and they would catch people. It was basically a forbidden drug for a long time. So when he brought it to me, I go, wow, something's going on here. Here's Davy Dave, right? Served in the force for over 25 years, retired from the force. And then Tom, who's never heard about marijuana until he got a tenant in one of his buildings. That was it was a dispensary, right? And that's when he heard about it. And they were paying more rent than everybody else. So he got, wait, why are these guys paying so much rent? Well, first of all, in those days, it wasn't popular, and it was much harder to get a landlord to accept. They didn't want any trouble. So when it would get a landlord to accept a dispensary, they would have to pay double the rent of somebody else. So Tom says, this is good enough for me. I'll rent them space, and that's how he got involved with it. So based with all of that, here we are. A couple of years later, the company is growing. We got Michael, my old high school buddy, in charge of running the show. Being the CEO now, which I think has a great future. So here we are, talking about football and CBD. And it seems a lot of athletes are jumping on board too, because it's really helping them get off the drugs, subscription drugs that have been, just killing them slowly, depression and everything else, right? So they're making big claims, and all of a sudden everybody in Hollywood is jumping into this, even the Kardashians, God forbid. But they got such they have such a wide audience that who knows? They people like that, promote it so quickly. So there we are. I lost you again. No tone.
Well, what I do is I mute myself and see it. I mute myself.
Okay.
No, I just want to thank you, Pierre, and want to thank Dave out there, and that's Dave Stevenson. And I want to thank Tom and Virginia Yerrick because of cannabis, if I ever have a sore throat, I take a gummy for my sore throat. If I ever have my skin's not, I put on the cream or the salve, or if I have a sore knee, the salve or the cream. If I'm really worked up, let's say I'm just emotional and I really need to lower the emotion, which, many times in my life.
One of the candies.
Well, no, I never did this before.
That's right. I have one of those.
But I try. I kind of like the vape. A lot of people are concerned about it, but it's very effective.
I've tried it. For me, it doesn't do much of anything, and I don't like smoke. Otherwise, I do like the taste of it, and it's got some nice flavors. And I've tried it again. It's for me, it's like a cigar almost, because I don't inhale anything. I just stick it in my mouth and.
I'm the same.
It is, after a while, I know one time I was in a yard barbecuing and puffing on that thing, and after a while I got a little bit mellow, So it's got to have some effect whether you inhale it or not,
Well, the great thing about cannabis, compared to whether you're talking about opioids with the pharma world, or alcohol, or tobacco, is cannabis is not addictive, and it's not going to hurt your liver. And whatever great things about cannabis, Pierre, I've never been to a big, what do they call, Grateful Dead concert.
Right.
I don't think you've ever had fights. Sometimes when you go to an event I remember, I'll never forget, I went to a Boston Red Sox, New York Yankee game. And I brought my uncle from Canada. This was many years ago. And as you probably know, Boston Red Sox and the Yankees are fierce rivals. And we were in the old Yankee Stadium, sitting up in the upper deck. And, people start drinking beers. Yeah. And by the 7th or 8th inning, these Yankee fans and Red Sox fans started fighting. And, fist fights on the triple deck, the upper deck. And my uncle got so nervous. He said, "I get out of here," because he thought someone was going to be thrown over the ledge.
Oh yeah, no.
And the reason I say that is if someone's taking too much cannabis, they're not fighting. They just go to sleep.
Exactly. No, I've had people in my family. My younger kid liked to smoke. Christopher's, loves to smoke a little bit of marijuana. And I just used to hate the smell. So if he would do it in my garage, I said, "Christopher, you can't do it here. You got to go down the street somewhere." "What about the backyard?" I said, "The backyard, the neighbor's going to complain." So, and of course, the garage, I got so many nice clothes and things. I said, "You're going to ruin all my stuff with that smell." But no, it doesn't do it. I've never seen anybody attack anybody when they're in marijuana. They're in slow motion. I've seen guys that love to smoke, and they're as mellow as you get.
Like Cheech and Chong, I'll never forget that.
Yeah, exactly.
A great a great video. If you go online, Cheech and Chong, and they're smoking, and I
Yeah,
guess
Up in Smoke
Chong
was Up in
Chong is
Smoke was a
driving.
famous movie. Yeah, I
Chong's
watched it.
driving, and they're talking, and then all of a sudden, the camera starts to get bigger and pans out,
Yeah,
and they're really not driving. They're
yeah.
stationary, but they're talking.
They're just
So
talking, and it's like,
yeah, I just
yeah.
yeah. So again, and now here's the other thing. Just another thing about cannabis that I did not know, but Club Nirvana has, and I'll go get it. But we have it's called a fresh tablet,
Oh,
and a fresh tablet is, there's two types of, if you have to break up cannabis, you've got indica, which is more relaxing, the strain, and then you've got sativa, which actually gives you energy. And these fresh tablets have helped me. Let's say I'm really tired, I wake up, and if I really need to get some quick energy, you can take a sativa tablet, and not only can it give you energy, it can help you focus. Like for me, sometimes, people say, Mike, are you ADD? Because my mind's firing. I'm going, well, you take
we're
a,
all ADD. Everybody
well,
from our
yeah.
generation.
Well, I think ADD was invented by the pharma business so they could say, oh, well, you know
Yeah,
what? Your mind's too fast. We want to slow it down. Here, take this drug.
yeah.
So
Any kid that was active back in our age group, in the 70s and 80s, overactive right away. Put him on some medication, all that. We're all like that, man. We're between sports and running around and clubbing, and came the revolution of the disco days and all that. We're
hey,
all over the place, man.
hey, Pierre, I had a guy 25 years ago, a doctor. I think he's a PhD in psychiatry, and he said, "Mike, you have ADD," and I said, "Really?" I said, but he said, "Don't worry. Everyone that came over on the Mayflower had ADD."
Exactly. Yeah. No, that's so true, because today kid gets a little bit out of control. Oh, let's take him to the doctor. Let's do some, which is ridiculous, because a good active kid that's healthy is gonna get in trouble a lot. I mean, all the stuff we used to do. My God, I mean, I must have I must have like 9 lives like a cat. Motorcycles, parachutes, jumping up and down, soccer, the disco era, all the stuff the crazy stuff. Uh, I mean, I can go on and on, but I don't want to scare people. They would think we're really out of control.
No, well, you know what? It's only a matter of time that cannabis will be taken off of Schedule One. I'm really
Oh yeah,
actually,
no, for sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm actually shocked. I'm going to just say, shame on you, whoever, and I'm not going to name any names, but there's people in Washington, D.C. that said to me, and I'm no names, I heard them say, we're going to take cannabis off of Schedule One. And, the last year I haven't heard much. So,
Yeah,
it's okay. But
I think they got too many issues over there right now to deal with. I
yeah.
think cannabis is a small thing, but eventually it's going to go mainstream. So,
Oh,
and
it's,
rightfully so.
in my
If you look
opinion,
at
it's,
the history from the doctor, if you remember the history of cannabis and how it came to be illegal. I mean, they used to make everything out of the plant, including they made a car out of it. But back in the days, after the prohibition, as you know, right, they made it illegal because they needed something to keep the federal agents occupied in those days. Because after the prohibition was over, thousands of them were out of work, and so they picked a plant that was pretty obvious, and marijuana, which is actually the dirtiest name that you can call something in Spanish. So there's a whole history of that, but we'll do that another different day and stuff.
yeah, we'll do
But
it.
definitely marijuana as a replacement for drugs, and big pharma, of course, is fighting to keep it on the on Section 1 right there. But again, I think they can't stop it, and the government, when you see the profits or the taxation on products of marijuana, the government needs money, and they're gonna, as long as they can get their money, they're gonna make it legal. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, yeah. When the government knows they can tax it. So
Oh,
yeah. Well, and just to let everyone know, cannabis. Thank you, Pierre. Thank you, Davey Dave, Tom Yerrick, Virginia Yerrick. And I also want to thank Euphoria. Euphoria is nutrition that's designed based on your own unique DNA. So when you go to like Costco, I went to Costco last week, and the first thing you see is a huge row of vitamins and nutritional supplements.
Yeah.
And what Euphoria Science calls that is we call blind nutrition, because you're guessing what your body needs. And with Euphoria, what you do is we swab you, we get your DNA, and we design nutrition based on your own unique DNA. So I'm just between Euphoria and Club Nirvana. The last 2 years for me, knock on wood, I've not had any issues with any of these viruses, and I'm 61 years old, and I believe I have energy of a 29-year-old, and I give a lot of credit to Club Nirvana and Euphoria. So,
I
Pierre,
love it. I love it.
thank you for half of what I am today. Thank you.
No, you're a great person and a great friend, and I'm happy that we're involved in this together. And yeah, I'd like to hear more later on about Euphoria. But
Oh, you
anyway, I
will.
think
You will. So,
to
Pierre,
finish, yeah.
So what we do on the dot, because I didn't give you a briefing, but I get so excited talking with you. But most of the time, it's you talking. So you shared your background.
Yeah.
We talked about the 49ers and the Rams. What are your thoughts about the Chiefs and the Bengals? What are your picks on that? What do you like to that game?
I think it's going to be a great game too, and it's going to be hard to call a winner right there. Even though I do believe that Kansas City's got more ammunition, and this young quarterback Mahomes already has proven himself. So I do believe that Mahomes will take this, and he'll be coming back in another Super Bowl. This coming month, and the reason why is. He's got a lot of targets, and he's got a lot of ammunition, and he's very mobile. The stuff that he does on the field, very few people do, and we're hoping that Trey Lance will be our next Mahomes.
Right.
And continue the legacy of the 49ers. So I look forward to the game today. It's hard to call. It's going to be I expect two really strong games.
But if you had to make the call, who you're gonna probably.
Well, I have to go with the Niners, of course.
Okay.
I mean, it would be wrong of me to do, and they've come this far. I think they got it in the tank to go one more round here to get us the Super Bowl, and then we'll see what happens. And on I definitely call Kansas City on the other one, even though the other team is going to be challenging. They're going to put up a fight.
Yeah. Well, I always like to pull for the underdog. So I would love to see Cincinnati. They've never won a Super Bowl. The Kansas City Chiefs, I believe, have won 2 Super Bowls. The 49ers have won 5 Super Bowls. The Rams have won 1 Super Bowl, but that was St. Louis Rams. So the Los Angeles Rams have never won a Super Bowl. And the Cincinnati Bengals have never won a Super Bowl.
No, that'll be interesting. Again, we'll soon to see what happens. Like I said, I hate to say it again. I've never had too much confidence in Jimmy G like everybody else did. He got a big contract. They can't get rid of him immediately right now. So especially if he plays in the Super Bowl.
Well, I'm gonna go to his defense, Pierre. He's been to 1 Super Bowl, and if he wins today and goes to 2 Super Bowls, do you know how many great quarterbacks have never been to 1 Super Bowl?
Oh, listen, one of the best quarterbacks, as you know, ever. Miami's Dan Marino.
Well, no, he went to a Super Bowl.
He did, but he never won.
But there's some great quarterbacks that never been to a Super Bowl.
I know, and if you look at great champions, you look at our friend Charles Barkley. I mean, he's never won a championship in basketball, but he's probably the best in his position that's ever played. So so when you win, and then you get on the other side of the scale, you get a Tommy Brady who's won 7 of them. with a brand new team at the end of his career, which nobody even expected him to be in the playoffs. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So when you look at that, it's crazy. But yeah, one of the best quarterbacks, which I always enjoyed watching when the 49ers played them so many times. Dan Marino, I respect and love him as a quarterback. And man, I mean, talk about bad luck. He should have gotten at least one ring in his career.
Yep.
So
Well, that's why these players, and this is if any of them they're not listening, they're getting prepared, but this could be their only shot because the average life expectancy of an NFL player is 3 years.
Yeah.
So if their only shot, this is a Super Bowl ring. That's what it's all about, because 40 years from now, when they're long retired, they're going to ask you, were you on a championship team?
Yeah.
And Pierre, I'm on
you know what? That ring that you're showing me, that's not just a championship ring, but it's one of the best looking ones in the business.
Well, you're very kind. So Pierre, a lot of people are on this, if they're still listening, because you and I, since we're both Pegasus, just to let everyone know, we love to talk and we love
Absolutely.
And so Pierre, I apologize for talking too much, but
no, that's okay.
A lot of people want to know, tell us your relationship with Tom Brady, the family, and let people know, because the news went out. I guess the Wall Street Journal said that ESPN leaked the story. So tell us what you know, because you know more. You know more than ESPN. Go ahead.
I have coffee, fortunately, with his dad a couple times a week, and just a wonderful family. Galen is his sisters. So all you're hearing right now is a lot of squawking, a lot of guys talking, trying to be first on the news, but a lot of that is just fake news, as he has not said he's going to retire yet. He's enjoying a vacation right now with his family, and whatever he does, again, he's proven himself way over, no matter how people pick at him. And I always have friends that compare him to Joe Montana. And I say, Joe Montana is great. He's wonderful. He's had his day in the sun, best in his days, best in his time. But you can't take anything away from Tommy Brady. People try to play the little games about deflate and this and that. And, oh, man, I mean, who doesn't have some kind of a history on the dark side of the road, But the fact is, he is the best ever, I think, as a quarterback, and he proved it over and over again. Like you said, how hard it is to just get to the Super Bowl, not just win one for a team. Some teams in 50 years have gotten there, and very few still have won the Super Bowl. Like you said, like the 49ers and the Steelers, 5-5. But again, a lot of speculation out there about Brady, but we're not going to hear anything probably till sometimes the middle of next month. I don't think he's going to make any announcements. So everybody's talking, and I got some friends right there online that are thanking him for his career. And I just sent a friend in Florida. I said, "What are you thanking him? I mean, you don't even know if he's done playing." He says, "Well, it's just one." I said, "Why not wait to see if he retires before you thank him for his career?"
This is very good. I mean, sports obviously is not as serious as countries like right now Russia and the Ukraine have been in the news, but this points out when we talk about responsible journalism, and I'm just going to say to ESPN, I believe, because I tracked the story, they said it. They said something, and then I went to the Wall Street Journal, which is owned by Amazon, and the Washington Post, I believe, and they said Tom Brady, and the New York Times actually, they laid off of it. They didn't talk about it. So if Tom decides, Pierre, if he decides to come back next year, this is a classic example of irresponsible journalism. Would you agree?
Yeah, I agree. But that's the way they sell news. They fabricate things and they want to be first. I remember one time when before what do you call it? um, before Bob Hope passed away, and everybody wanted to be first. And he reads in a paper one morning while having coffee, Bob Hope passed away, and he looks at the thing and he laughs, with a sense of humor. He says, I hope not." So everybody wants to be first, and everybody wants to just create some kind of a story out there, and they want to be remembered. But a lot of these people are very responsible with what they do and their speculations. Why not let things play out, right? And let the people, let the Tommy Brady's of the world come out and say, "I'm done. I'm retiring," and give them a chance, to tell people what's going on out there. So anyway, it's funny to watch, especially if you're fortunate enough to be on the inside and know what's going on. It's laughable, to watch this news people just running around with their, like chickens with their heads cut off.
Yeah, yeah. It's well, you got to be careful again with rumors. I think it was Mark Twain. I was trying to look up the quotation about. I think he said that the rumors of my death have been extremely exaggerated. Again, a great quotation, and again, I'm not giving you the exact quotation, but there's some really funny quotations about people who, the news media said, oh, they died, and actually they were still alive. So
Yeah.
with Tom Brady
right now, like I said, I had a conversation with his dad. Was it yesterday, I believe? And when all this started coming out, and his dad is out in Southern California playing golf, but he said, no, Tommy is on vacation with his family, taking time off right now. And we spoke, and there's no, he has not made any decisions, which is, it's kind of cool to be on the inside, and I'm not publicizing anything that private conversations that I have. So I would say I'm in the know. I know more than most because I can call directly to the source, and my phone gets answered. So that's why I don't talk about anybody's private business. But I can tell you one thing: he hasn't hanged his cleats yet.
Well, Pierre, here's
And
the
you know
quote.
what? You know what's crazy? No matter what anybody says, he's had such a great year. I mean, even with Antonio Brown leaving the field and losing some guys that got hurt and stuff, he didn't have much protection this year. He got hit a lot, which his family doesn't like to see, of course. But the truth is, he's had a terrific year, and he could easily, the shape that he's in. This guy is it's mesmerizing. He could easily play another year without any trouble.
Yeah,
I'd
Pierre.
love to see him play one more year. I really enjoy him, just like in the old days of Montana. I couldn't wait to watch Montana, the surgeon, operate on that field.
Pierre, I got the quotation here, Pierre. The quotation is, "The report of my death was an exaggeration." And this was Mark Twain. He wrote a letter in May 31st, 1897 to a reporter who asked him about the rumors that he was on his deathbed in London. And again, his quotation was, "The report of my death was an exaggeration." So,
Yeah.
just like you talk about Tom Brady, the report of his retiring, we just don't know. And I would love to see Tom Brady come back, but at the same time, I would have loved to have seen him retire last year when he won his 7th Super Bowl, because the chances of him winning another Super Bowl, what are the odds of that, Pierre?
Yeah, if he again, he's one of those great quarterbacks where everybody wonders a lot of stuff and how he does it. But he was quoted by saying that he knows where that ball is going to go before it hits his hands on the snap, and he already knows where he's going to throw it. Versus a lot of other quarterbacks get the ball and try to figure out who they're going to throw it to. That's what makes him unique and great, is the 1-2 release, 1-2, and I think that he could easily play another year and get another Super Bowl. I would
Pierre,
not put it past him if he has the right the right.
Pierre, I'm going to ask a question here, Pierre. I'm going to ask a question. I just put Pierre on mute. Okay. Pierre, here's the question. Can you share with everyone about when you were in the gym and Tom was a freshman in high school? Could you share that when he threw the ball? Talk about that.
Oh, that's a good point. So we're, doing pickup basketball down at the Bay Club when he was in high school, and he had his all his guys, from his varsity basketball team down there and football team as well. A kid named Lurkey, which grew up in my neighborhood down River Shores. Father was a contractor, and he would come a little bit early, and he would throw the ball to Lurkey and a couple of the guys. And then one day, as he was throwing the ball, I said, "Hey, Tommy, show me what you got." He goes, "What?" I go, "Throw me a ball." And from one end of the gym, one corner to the other, a full basketball gym. So, that's a good, what's the yardage on that, you would say, Michael? That's a good.
Probably maybe 30 to 30 yards, 40 yards.
It's probably about 50
In a
300
gym,
feet. 300 feet from one corner to the other, right?
Well, from one corner to the other, I'm going to guess maybe between 30 to 40 yards. That's what I would say.
Yeah, I would say that for sure. So I said, "You know what, Tommy, you're probably going to throw it to me only once in my life." So he goes, "You want a soft one or a hard ball?" I said, "Throw it as hard as you can." So fortunately for me, it deflected against my fingers and went to the back wall in a corner and made a dent about this big, about this in the sheetrock. And fortunately, it flew off my back fingers. Otherwise, it would have broken two of my fingers on the spot. This is how strong this young man could throw the ball. One day, I brought Jerry Rice to. This is a great story. I brought Jerry Rice to come and do a pickup game with us, and he sees Jerry on the corner of his eye walking in the basketball gym at the club, and Jerry is on the other side and stretching. And he grabs my arm. "Pierre, please introduce me. Of course, he was a huge fan growing up here of Joe Montana and Jerry Rice and the 49ers and stuff. So I said, "Jesus Christ, Tommy, take it easy. You're going to give me a heart attack." What? He cut me off surprise. I said, "Yeah, let the man stretch. And he's going to come over here. I'll introduce you for sure." So Jerry's stretching. He's done. He comes over. I say, "JR, come here for a second." He goes, "What's up, Pierre?" I said, "I want to introduce you to this really fine young man, real nice family right here. Grew up in San Mateo and went to the same school as Barry Bonds here. He's going to Sarah right now, but he just got a scholarship from Michigan." And of course, Tommy ran up and was looking up to him as like he was Jesus Christ, Mr. Rice, and rightfully so. But it was one of those really cute experiences, where please, oh my God, when he saw Jerry walk in that gym, it was something else, And
was that the first time? Would you think was that the first time that Tom had connection with Jerry?
Yeah, first time he met Jerry.
And you
like
introduced
25 years ago.
You introduced Jerry to Tom.
Yes, 25 years ago, I brought Jerry. I told him come down and we're going to do some pickup basketball, and then Tommy was there. Right after it was, I think, in an afternoon after high school there. So they would come down almost every day, 2 or 3 days a week to play pickup basketball at the gym. And we had some characters there. I mean, once in a while, I think a couple of times, Ronnie Lott came, Tom 49er, not touchdown Tommy, but
Tom Rathman. Tom
Rathman, thank you. Tom was one of the guys that joined the club with us when we all lived in the Shores. He wasn't a basketball guy, but he was there all the time, and we'd have different athletes come in from Stanford and all over the place, come to pick up. So a couple of baseball guys, Royce Clayton and a couple other guys would come down.
Did you ever have Barry Bonds come down?
Barry would come down. He wasn't a basketball player, but a couple of his guys on the team were players. Like Royce was an amazing athlete, shortstop, one of the best in the country at the time. I had no idea who he was when he was playing with us. One day he asked me, he says, "Hey, Pierre, you sell real estate, right?" He goes, "Hey, I'm looking for a house and he looks like he's 18 years old. I'm looking for a house or a lot in Woodside." And I look at him, I said, "Looking for like your parents or looking for who?" "For you or for your parents?" He goes, no, looking for myself. I said, "Royce," I said, "What do you do?" I wasn't following baseball that much in those days, 25, 30 years ago. And I said, "What do you do?" He goes, "I play ball." And I'm thinking maybe he just joined the 49ers. So I go play ball like this, like this. He goes, "No, like this," showing me a baseball move. And all the guys in the locker room were laughing their heads off. And that's why these guys, a lot of times, they love me because he was playing basketball pickup with us for quite some time. And I had no idea who he was. I'd bump into him, foul him like he was the next guy.
Hey, Pierre, I got to ask you this question because there's probably some people out there that want to know. When you first met Tom Brady when he was in high school and you became friends with him, did you have any thought that he was going to go on to be the greatest quarterback in NFL history?
No. Most guys, they judge great athletes by their foot movement, along with their ability, and to throw a ball and everything else. But feet is like for soccer and everything else. That's where you judge when a guy has great wheels. That's why so many guys come out of college and they get picked by teams because they're mobile, they're strong, very versatile, and not just throwing the ball and the accuracy. But Tommy, to tell you the truth, not many people gave him a chance to play professional. I mean, he was going to be a good. That's what when I introduced him to Jerry Rice, this was my comment. I said, "Meet this great young man. He goes to Sarah High School, and he just got a scholarship at Michigan, and I think he's going to play some really good. It's going to be fun to watch. I think he's going to play some good college ball." I told Jerry, but nobody. I mean, who would have thought? I mean, maybe if you saw a guy like Joe Montana in high school, you would have thought this guy could play professional right away. Because when I met his father, he used to tell me Joe was an amazing athlete. He got a scholarship, from what I understand. He could choose when he came out of high school. He could out jump at 6'2" a guy that was 6'7" in basketball. He could out jump him. That from what I heard from his father.
Joe Montana.
Joe Montana, yeah.
Wow.
He could out jump a guy that was 6'6", 6'7", when they would go for a ball. So he had an offer for a scholarship in baseball, from what I understand, in basketball and in football, and he chose football. So he was such an amazing. He had such wheels on him and movement, and the leap too. So guys like that, you could say, "Hey, this guy's gonna probably play, some professional sport one way or another." But Tommy was a good athlete. The thing that got him was probably his accuracy. Was phenomenal. I remember when his dad told me, or he told me the story, or his dad, that Tommy's father asked him, "What do you want to do? When you grow up?" "Now I want to be a professional football player. I want to be a quarterback." And he goes, "Do you know how many people want to be quarterbacks?" His father told him. But he says, "I'll tell you what, I'm going to put this tire or object." I think they were on the beach in Hawaii, if I remember correctly. And he said, "You throw this ball from this distance into that tire and you hit the target. You don't even have to go through it. If you hit the target, I'll put all my resources behind you. I'll pay for coaching. I'll get you whatever you need." And he said, "Dad, no problem." And he took that ball and he threw it and he hit the target straight on. And his dad said, "Holy crap, that's incredible. Can you do that again?"
Well, for all of you young kids out there, that what Pierre just said, for all of you young kids that are listening, what Tom Brady had was the heart, his burning desire. And you put the heart together with the head, and you can accomplish a lot, right, Pierre?
Yeah. And one thing for sure, he was man, he didn't. I mean, I've never seen anybody hate to lose like he did. I remember one time I had a couple of guys who were doing a play up, off the court. We usually would do a pickup game at the club. And I had a guy that was a good shooter with me, a couple of other average guys like me, not any kind of fabulous athletes, but he brought his entire varsity team and they went against us. And the game went, we played to 11, straight up by 1 point. And he won 4-4, 5-5, 7-6, 7-5, 8-8. The gist of the game at the end, one of us, I can't remember, me or the other good shooter, took the shot and it was 11-10. And these guys thought that we were just like, they were going to run over us like a bus over chickens, right? And believe it or not, I have never seen anybody so upset when he lost this pickup game against us average guys, and he had his varsity team with him. So I think one of the great lessons in his life is I don't care who you're playing against, how good they are, is don't let your guard down. And you can see, I mean, you could have seen it in that game when he came back during Super Bowl. He was down 3-30 at halftime. Remember that? The greatest comeback I've ever seen,
I
right?
do. Yep.
And he doesn't give up, and he hates to lose.
Yep.
He just with a passion.
Yep.
So
he and John Elway have that in common.
Yes, yeah, John is like that, a lot like that.
Yeah.
And again, he's just a great kid. I think he's just the whole family very well raised.
By the way, Pierre, guess what Tom Brady's personality is?
Pegasus.
Yeah.
I figured.
Yeah.
You and I don't like to lose either.
No. But I think, well, I don't know if it, I think all the personalities, I don't think that, but his personality is definitely.
Me, a lot of times, even when I used to play tennis with Jerry Rice and stuff, now he picked up tennis like unbelievable. But when before he started playing golf back some 35 years ago, I'm one of those people where I don't like to beat up on anybody and the game doesn't mean anything. I will relinquish the win to make him feel good, because I honestly, a lot of times when I play with guys and I can see it means so much to them, I will pull back, either it's tennis, soccer, or whatever. When I'm doing pickup games like this, I'm very confident in myself, and I don't need another accolade or another win to bring my ego out or to make me feel good. And but guys, and I would see how much it would even make Jerry happy in the days when he first picked up tennis. And I mean, he picked it up so quickly; it was amazing. But I would let go a little bit, pull back, and people will laugh at this against Jerry Rice. Yeah, but he never played tennis until when he came out here and joined the 49ers, And then same thing with golf. He never played golf. Like Michael Jordan started playing golf in high school and in college for sure, And him and Michael Jordan are almost head to head. And Jerry did not pick up golf till his late 20s, which is pretty amazing. Tells you how wonderful and great athlete he is to be able to pick up a new sport like this in no time,
Yeah, Jerry is a heck of a golfer now. Very good golfer.
So it's a pleasure to see you here, my friend.
Well, just one last thing here, because you get the last word on the dot. You get the last word, but I do want to just mention you've got Joe Burrow, who is 25 years old, and Patrick Mahomes, who's 26 years old. And Pierre, Tom Brady, who has 7 Super Bowls. Patrick Mahomes has been to 2. He has 1 Super Bowl ring. So he's got another 6 to go to catch up with Tom. And Joe Burrows is looking for his first trip to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Those two guys, 25 and 26.
Yeah.
Do you think any of them have a chance to catch Tom Brady at 7?
Well, you know how football is. I mean, everybody has a chance, as long as, you get enough time on the clock, even if they're down, they always have a chance. I mean, look at the 49ers. Who would have thought those last two, the game, the recent game, the last 2 fumbles and get him in kick position against a great team like Green Bay. Talk about another great quarterback that I've had a chance. I met him actually with you when he was playing at Berkeley, when we had that Stanford game, the last game that he won, remember, against Stanford.
Yep.
You introduced me to his whole family. And over the years, I've seen Rogers at all the golf tournaments in Lake Tahoe. And we always, shake hands. And one of his linemen is I went to high school with Bakhtiari's mom right here, and they grew up with our family. So whenever I see him, I say, "Hey, how's my man Bakhtiari doing?" Oh, Bakhtiari. Oh, I love David. He's a great guy. And so it's a small world, his mom and dad live close by us. Our kids went, all the kids, David and his brothers, Andrew and Eric. Eric played a little bit, just started out for the 49ers, had a good little start there. But David's been amazing, one of the best protector linemen for Rodgers, and probably one of the best in the NFL. Was voted a couple of times. So who would have thought that Green Bay at home and 49ers on the road in the snow would beat Rodgers? I mean, nobody in his right mind would have put any bets on that.
Yeah.
Vegas made a lot of money on that deal.
Yeah, I thought that the Green Bay, there's no way they're going to lose that game, and that's why, boy, the Niners are just, it might be,
like you said, as you said, every team, every year a team has this end of the year kind of a run, and the 49ers seem to have that. So
yeah.
God bless, let's see what happens, huh?
Well, as they say, on any given Sunday, anyone can beat anyone.
Yeah.
I mean, Jacksonville, the worst team in football, that Jacksonville beat, who was it right before they beat, who was it? One of the teams. I mean, they couldn't understand how they beat the team. Anyway,
Oh, yeah.
The bottom line. Now, here's what you get the last word, Pierre. And what I would like to talk about, we're going to segue, because on the dot, we don't just talk about sports, we talk about economics. And as everyone can see back here, this is, if you see up here in the corner, it's the Buljan Group. And this is his website. I'll bring it up again. Let me just show everyone the website. I'm just going to pull that up, and you'll be able to see that down at the bottom. Buljan Group. Pierre, this is your neighborhood. And you've seen, Pierre, so many changes since you started. You started in the residential real estate market in this region, the peninsula, in 78 or 79?
79.
79. Could you just talk about, how it's, where it was, how it is today, and where do you see the future of our economy, the housing industry? Why don't you just share, and then I'm going to go off air. You take us out. And again, Pierre, thank you so much for being on the dot. We're going to have you on again. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Michael. Really appreciate it. So I don't want to bore everybody to death, but the way I've been through a few recessions, I'd say 4 or 5, and pretty good depression too in the late 80s during the earthquake and 89 earthquake. A couple of years, things were pretty stalled, stopped moving. In 2008, of course, during the mortgage crisis, we've seen a lot of changes. But this market, incredibly enough, has been on fire now for almost 10 years, since probably 2011, when it started coming back, 2012. So, no, we're due for a correction. As much as people say, well, there's so much money, Silicon Valley and the Bay Area and all that. All of that is true. But what happens is when the interest rates go up, inflation has to be curtailed. But when things change, everything comes to a little bit of a stop, because even if people have money, and there's plenty of money in the Bay Area, as everybody knows, we're talking about multi-billion-dollar companies that have gone public just in the last few years and have just gone through to the moon, So that is true. However, when things stall and they start leveling off and all that, everybody kind of stops to watch where it's going to go. And I don't think the Bay Area will ever be, hit, even in the worst of our times, when during the big recession there, we had a drop of 25%. But things have doubled really real estate wise in the Bay Area just in the last 2.5 years, which is incredible. So 25% would not be a big hit. However, it would would have damage in the greater Bay Area, areas outside Stockton, Sacramento, and all that. I've seen literally 50% of the top, and that's where when people have financed their properties at 75% to 80% of value, then you start seeing some damage. So what do I predict? I think there's going to be a correction coming soon, maybe by the middle of the end of this year. The fact is, what the great impact will be, we don't know yet. We just know that this administration here has been printing dollars like toilet paper. So there has to be a stop. So if I was to give anybody any advice, which I don't like to give any financial or any advice, we talk a lot with clients about things. I would definitely take some of my money and put it into cryptocurrency, because whether it's Bitcoin or some of the others, they have a limit to what you can buy, and you can't print any more of it, just like you do dollar bills. So long and short of it, that's my little advice to people, to diversify in crypto, because if the dollar really loses its valuation completely, you're going to be able to. A lot of companies now are letting you buy Walmart and Amazon, even, and other companies, GameStop, all of that. They're letting you buy products with cryptocurrency. So certain cryptocurrency right now is as valuable as cash. A while back, Elon Musk was letting people buy cars with Dogecoin, which was a meme, and all that. That's another story altogether. But you can see that more and more businesses are accepting crypto. So I think there's definitely a future in that. But get some good advice to which ones to buy, and because it is very volatile, and I mean, you see Bitcoin going to 65,000 to 40,000. Those are big, huge ups and downs. So anyway, that's my take of it. Real estate will always be strong in San Mateo County, Santa Clara, in the main, because we're like the peninsula here is almost like an island. There is no more land. You're limited. You got the bay and the ocean on one side. You got all the open space on the other side of 280 that you can never build on. And everywhere that's being built right now, you see construction going everywhere. It's a property that was either subdivided from a larger estate, or it's something that was torn down and built new. And that's what's happening up and down the peninsula. And no more land on the peninsula. So as Will Rogers said, buy land. They don't make any more of it.
Thank you, Pierre. We love you, brother.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. We'll talk soon.